Hi everyone. Sometimes your math teacher will ask you to learn to get a variable all by itself. That is called isolating for a variable, okay? Or solving for a variable. It depends how your teacher likes to talk. Okay, so it says solve each formula for the indicated variable, okay? A equals L squared for L. So we're supposed to solve for L, get L all by itself. Well, I'll just rewrite it here. A equals L squared. With these kinds of questions, you have to often think, if I just want L all by itself, how do I get rid of this little squared here? I just want L all by itself. And you have to think, what's the opposite of squaring? And the answer to that is square root. Okay? So if you took the square root of both sides, because you have to do the same thing to each side, when you have an equation like this, what are you left with? You're left with L equals the square root of A. And guess what? You have solved for L. You have isolated L all by itself. Okay? There is a website that I noticed online that really is useful for this if you're trying to check your guesses or check your answers. I think it was called Symbolab. Anyway, if you were to type in solving for a variable, I think it would come up in a Google search. Okay? Okay, let's look at the next question. We're trying to solve in this situation here, so we have v equals pi r squared. There we go. V equals pi r squared. Okay, let's look at the next question. Let's say we had to solve for v equals pi r squared h, and we were supposed to solve for h. Okay? By the way, this is the volume formula for a cylinder. Some of you may have recognized that. And the last question really was just the area of a square. You take the area, you take one length of the square and square it, and you will get the area of a square. Anyway, this is the volume formula for a cylinder. And let's say we're supposed to find the height of the cylinder and we know everything else. Well, let's get h all by itself. Let's think about this. All we want to do is get rid of the pi and the r squared. Okay? Now this is multiplication going on between each one. And what's the opposite of multiplication? Well, it's division. You can divide both sides by pi r squared. Okay? That would get rid of it on this side. The h would be all by itself. Doesn't matter what side the h is on. It could be on the left or the right side. I'm going to leave it here on the right side. But on the left side, we're left with v divided by pi r squared. And basically, we have finished this question. We have solved the question. We've got h all by itself. H is isolated. Okay? In a math textbook, usually you'd see the h on the right side and all of this on the h on the left side and all of this on the right side, okay? So you take the volume divided by pi r squared and you're good to go. You would know h. All right, let's move to the next question. Area is equal to half the base times the height for b. So we're trying to find or isolate b, okay? I'll just rewrite it. All right, we want to get b all by itself. Let's see, there's a number of ways to do this. One way is to get rid of a 1/2, to get rid of that fraction, we can multiply both sides by 2. Okay, we could multiply both sides by 2. So that would get rid of it on this side. If we multiplied this side by 2, that would get rid of this. But over here we would have 2a is equal to b times h. Now we're supposed to solve for b, okay? So we want h to get out of here, and it's b times h, so the opposite of times is divide. So if you do that, it gets rid of it there, and we're left with b is equal to 2a, 2 times the area, divided by the height. Okay, and now we have solved for b. We have isolated b. Let's go to the next page. I thought there was another page, and I don't see. Oh, there it is. Here's another question. We're supposed to get L all by itself here. So let's do that. This is perimeter formula for a rectangle. And we want to know, how do you get L all by itself? What if you knew the perimeter and you wanted to find the length? And you knew the width as well. Okay. So first of all, let's bring the 2w over to the other side. Okay, subtract it there, subtract it here. So now we have p minus 2w is equal to 2l. There's one more step. We want to get the L all by itself. So we're going to have to divide everything by 2. We'll divide this side by 2 and divide this all by 2. Okay? So we're left with L equals perimeter minus 2 times the width, all divided by 2. And that would solve for L. It would get L all by itself. We would know the length. Okay? Let's do the next question. Interesting. We want to take this situation here. It's actually our answer for the last question, I see. And we want to now solve for W. Interesting. Okay, let's do that. And we want to solve. We want to get W all by itself. I would start by getting rid of the denominator here, the 2. I'd multiply both sides by 2. Okay? If you multiply both sides by 2, it gets rid of this one here. You just have p minus 2w. And over here you have 2l. So we've gotten rid of the denominator there by multiplying both sides by 2. And now we can get rid of, let's see, we want to get rid of this p here by subtracting p from both sides. So we're left with negative 2w is equal to 2l minus p. And lastly, I want to get rid of, we're trying to solve for w, so I want to get rid of the negative 2. So divide everything by negative 2. Divide everything by negative 2. So we're left with w equals, now by the way, 2 divided by negative 2, when it comes to the L, is just negative 1. And minus p divided by negative 2 is going to be positive p over 2. That is not a nice looking answer. However, that is the answer. So that one is not a pretty looking answer, but that is the answer. And let's do one last one here. We want to solve for p. We want p all by itself. Yikes. Okay. In this question here, it's a bit of a strange one because I see 300 here and 300 here. And yeah, I mean, if you see 300 here and here, it's the same thing as on the bottom as what's on the top here. And so for this fraction here, they could cancel. So really we have, I'm just going to write down what we have left. All right, that's what we have left. And we want to get p all by itself. So simply get rid of this 3 by subtracting 3 from both sides, which would look like this. R over 300 minus 3 is equal to p. And that would be the answer. We would be done. Okay? That question was not as lengthy as I thought. But again, the question's not exactly easy. Now, are there any other questions? I think that's it. I've gone through the ones that I planned to go through. I hope that helped a little bit. Have a great day. Good luck out there, people.